Which could point out maybe that they're not looking to fight in this lane as hard. Maybe Jinx is just looking to farm up safe and only take and not really go for these early trades. Unless she can get the range from the rockets, which might mean she doesn't need live or tempo, and she can just poke out the vein with her increased range.
Yeah, and maybe D-Hero is going to be looking to pick up an early rapid fire cannon as well, maybe second item.
Yeah, maybe.
Which would also help with that poke.
For sure. I think most other runes were pretty standard on the side of on both sides.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you take on Kassadin, but Fancy going with the electrocute. So just looking to blow someone up, and then we are going to see another level 1 here from Hive Mind. Looking towards this bot lane Tribush with D-Hero waiting in the wings. 5-point defense coming out from Hex.
All right.
As the Hive Mind members are going to walk in. Outlaw leading the charge. Not going to quite catch vision, and Root's going to go wide. Pyromancy Crash Down going to miss as well. Flash out of Bishan. And they're going to take the summoner and just walk away.
B emotes coming out. Be happy from that flash burned from Jinx. Nothing burned really on the side of other than cooldowns on the side of Hive Mind, making sure that they get what they need from that.
And this might mean that the bot lane matchup going to be swinging a little bit more towards Hive Mind. Outlaw potentially going to pay a little bit more attention down here now. Bishan not having that flash, and Howler could be looking for something here. Going to get the remount and flip onto Bishan. A lot of damage taken. Heal's going to be burned as well. Press the attack popped. Bishan losing about 50% HP. No summoner spells on that Jinx now.
Obviously, really great trades from the early from Hive Mind, showing that they definitely aren't going to take this lane down. And both summons burned on Jinx. Probably going to be looking at Ivan to be able to see if he can get an early gank off down on the bot lane and create more pressure and punish the Jinx for making Ivan burn both those summoners early. I do want to mention, before too much more action happens, that Kassadin did take a Dark Seal, which I think is worth mentioning as first item over the Doran's Blade. I think Electrocute is the most taken rune on him right now, although obviously sometimes you take Fleet Footwork if you feel like you're going to be more pressured in lane, which taking Dark Seal and Electrocute, I think he feels that he's quite confident in this lane.
Well, taking quite a lot of damage there early from the Frostmoth Nico. Electrocute being popped from the Nico and chunking Fancy out to about 50%. Does have those 3 health potions though, so should be able to regenerate back up with not a lot of problems. We look at the jungle paths. Jungle started on opposite sides of the map from each other, and they are just continuing with full clears. Outlaw leaving his Gromp, but fully clearing everywhere else. So,
yep. Both players are looking bot side. It looks like. I mean, both junglers. Apologies, are going to be looking bot side for these first games. I don't think you're going to get much action from a Lulu Ornn lane, to be honest. No. It's panning up here, but if both players are playing it pretty well, I don't feel like there's going to be too much action up and down.
Yeah, I would not imagine so. Direct to camera, just making sure that we know the lane exists.
Yeah, making sure that they are trading auto attacks.
Yeah, exactly, but there's not really going to be masses going on up there. We are seeing Outlaw starting to move down towards this bottom lane, though. Positioning himself in the bush, looking for the gank. D-Hero and Bishan playing quite back and safe, though. And Joe now wrapping around for the Scuttle Crab. We're going to see a bit of a fight here, but the Ood is very low. Nico's going to roam down as well, but Imari just going to flash Triangle Barbs into... I don't know what the Ivan route is called, but that's going to be first blood for Outlaw.
We'll just call it red laces, because that's what you
Red laces, sure.
We'll call it red laces.
Strawberry laces.
Strawberry laces.
It is Candy King Ivan, so it works.
Exactly. I feel like it was very good flash from Frostmoth, and obviously here getting the early trade in again.
But does force out that summoner spell, can leave that Nico potentially vulnerable to a gank.
For sure. The Ivan also burned flash. I don't think it was needed because I think he was dead anyway. But you know, just making sure to secure the kill.
I would also argue that as the Ivan, you don't need to flash there. You can just give the kill over to your mid laner.
For sure.
Now we see Imari coming in. Flash, bear slap on to the Nico. Frostmoth taking a lot of damage here from the Phoenix. Tiger Star's going to come out as well, but the Tangle Barb's root going to secure it. Another bear slap into the Phoenix. Amare answering back in the mid lane. Does trade his flash for the kill, but is going to open up a lot of pressure for Fanxy, who already has a CS lead in this matchup.
Unfortunately, Fanxy didn't get an assist on that kill, which is worth noting because of the Dark Seal. But obviously, he couldn't really engage. He was very choked out. But good punish from Ima, making sure that he punishes the Nico, burning her flash early, and then pushing up in the lane, which probably wasn't the best idea once you know that the enemy knows you've burned your flash, and the enemy junglers burned their flash, and the Uda has his flash.
Amari now positioning towards his bot side, looking to get another gank off. Doesn't have that flash, but the Headbutt Pulverize combo available for BDNG. Big wave here, though, for the Hive Mind bot lane. So fighting into it might be difficult, but Amari going to look. Headbutt Pulverize catches two. flash away from the chompers, and Howlets are going to get caught, tagged by the zap, but not really anything else going to go through. The shielding from that Ferromancy Crashdown going to enable him to get away to relative safety.
Yep. Nice engage from the Alistar, making sure to burn the Bane Flash and Heal, both of them being burned as well. Jinx almost has Flash back up, Heal is back up.
But in the meantime, we have just seen that gank bot lane. Look at the topside jungle from Outlaw, taking away all of the camps from the Udyr.
Oh, that is not the kind of thing you want to see as an Ivern v Udyr, but good answer back, making sure that not...
Will BDNG get
this is
stunned
not
up?
good.
Silver Bolt's going to go through. Pulverize is going to miss, and he just takes a bunch of damage. He does cancel the backs, but a lot of damage now taken on that Alistar.
Yeah, I think this is fine though, because they're just going to recall and imagine they're going to reset afterwards. Maybe going to pressure there a little more. I feel like Alistar is not too tanky pre-6. I forgot what he took Aftershock, which does make him slightly more tanky. Obviously, Phase Rush Alistar is also something that you see very often for the extra mobility, but Aftershock is the more tanky option.
I have to say, I am starting to feel a little bit scared for Hive Mind. Fanxy on this Kassadin has a Tear of the Goddess now. Wait, it's Aftershock on? I did not realize it was Aftershock on. Thank you, production.
I can see why he would take it.
I can understand it into a Lulu matchup. Sorry? Yeah, Spellbook would have been better. I probably agree. But into a Lulu, I can understand it because he's not going to be able to proc Grasp.
I can understand not taking Grasp, definitely. I mean, yeah, as long as the Lulu's using the speed boost polymorph, and you're never going to catch a Lulu and get an auto off on her, so I can understand looking for a different rune choice. As mentioned, I do feel like Spellbook
Alright, looking for another gank here onto Frostmoth, sweeps the bush. Fanxy going to Rift Walk forward. Gets the stun onto the Nico, but the Pop Blossom does come through, stunning down the Udyr. We're going to get taken top lane. Wally getting just clapped down by Granny Spanner. The Forge God's called as a wild couple flashes, and Small War is just going to go down for a solo kill. We didn't get to see any of the fight in the mid lane, although it doesn't look like it particularly continued after we panned up towards the top side.
Looking at the map, Ivan and Rail just came up and dissuaded the Udyr from pushing on any further. But yeah, good solo kill for the Ornn. And from this, they're going to use the pressure that they even got from top side to just pressure Dragon and get this first Dragon.
But I think giving over these advantages on the side of Hex is okay. They're not even 1,000 gold behind at the moment. And with the amount of scaling they have on their comp, I think they are going to be completely okay with it.
Definitely fine. I mean, obviously, you never want to see a solo kill from your top, from the enemy top laner, but it's definitely still looking okay for the enemies for both teams. Farm difference, you're kind of looking what you kind of expect, other than the Ivan, is pretty decent CS above Udyr, which is not something I was expecting to see.
Well, the bot lane CS lead should equalize a little bit. This is a big wave that has just been shoved into the turret, so Killer Vanilla should be able to pick up quite a bit of that and equalize that gap a little bit as well.
Double Ionian boots picked up, one for the Lulu, one for the Ivan, which are both very good, obviously, making sure that you got them summoner spells and the cooldown.
Both most likely going to be going for that Moonstone Renewer as well as their mythic item. Obviously, the item is still very, very powerful.
Definitely. I think in the next patch notes, they talked about whether they're going to...
But Outlaw catches the Strawberry Laces onto Bishan, flashes forward with that Trigger Seed. Knockup going to miss, but the Magnet Storm's called in. Attract and Repel, and Bishan is just getting repelled back to his Summoner platform. BDNG getting engaged on now by Frostmoth as well, but just some auto attacks thrown across by the Nico.
Yeah, Ivan jumping over with confidence there. He knows he has ult up, he knows he has flash up, and he knows that Jinx is alone, because we saw the vision on the Alistar already, and BDNG just leaving Jinx alone, maybe not the best idea when you know that the jungler's around, but unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. It's unfortunate. But Hive Mind coming out with quite a solid early game.
This Ornn is slapping this Lulu around in lane, which is not something I mean, you never expect to really win lane as a Lulu, but
you don't expect to get slapped around that hard.
Not by an Ornn, I shouldn't think.
Yeah.
You do have the tools to make sure you can move out of the way of a lot of his CC, and you can polymorph him a lot of the time when he goes to use his ult. Is an important thing in the matchup. But maybe Lulu just showing that Ornn is the king of the top lane, really, still, after all this time.
But if we look at the state of the game, it's still only a 1,200 gold lead. It's not. I mean, obviously, it's not good for Hex. You don't want to be giving up these early kills. But it could be. It could be a lot worse with the amount of scaling they've drafted. It could be a lot worse.
For sure, definitely. I think this is about the kind of thing you expect to bleed a little when you're playing the more scaling comp. But you just need to make sure that you don't give too much over and you don't give more than you need to give necessarily.
Yeah, of course. We do see Amari now counter jungling in that bottom side. Outlaw trying to take away the Rift Herald. So the Udyr making very good use of potential either just knowledge or just the ability with his bot lane having priority to get those jungle camps away from the Ivern and close that CS gap up ever so slightly. But other than that, we are just in a pretty much a bit of a lull state, just farming back and forth. CS lead in the bot lane really starting to grow now, up to about 15 to 20 CS in the favor of D-Hero and BDNG. Yeah, Bishan sitting at 92 CS at 11 minutes. Very, very nice for the Jinx, even with the death.
We're seeing something that's interesting is most mythics in this game. I think so. We do see Ivan already has got his,
as does Ornn.
As does Ornn already have his Sunfire Aegis as well. What mythic I think most mythics obviously know what they're going. I think Vayne's going Immortal Shield Bow, I imagine, with that Vampiric Scepter.
Yeah, probably.
I don't see Vayne go Vampiric Scepter very often. Immortal Shield Bow very often. I usually see Kraken Slayer, although I do really like Immortal Shield Bow on most champions. I feel like it's a very strong item.
Personally, on Vayne, I am of the opinion that you would go Kraken Slayer into Blade of the Ruin King.
Ivan down the spot lane. Jinx is not there right now. Alistar is alone.
Ivan just helping them shove, potentially going to threaten the turret with the Rift Herald. Or just to get plates. But there is only 3 plates left on the tower. Mari going to look onto Granny Spanner, but that Ornn is level 10 and very tanky. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't actually matter because Udyr just does so much damage. The stun going to come out. Granny Spanner having to flash away there from the Phoenix. And turret bot lane picked up with the Rift Herald. Daisy's now summoned, and Hive Mind can maybe continue to push here.
Lovely first tower coming out from the side of Hive Mind. Got the first tower yesterday, keeping up that stat. But making sure that...
Gonna get them the second dragon of the game. Taking that turret, getting all of the pressure bot lane. Frostmoth being able to roam down as well. And this is going to be second Drake.
Yeah, second Drake. So when you look at the soul, I think they're hoping that it's not Ocean at this point. But we should see next.
Which it's not, it's Cloud Soul.
Yeah, Cloud Soul coming out. Obviously still a great soul. Slightly weaker than the others, I feel like, a lot of the time. But you don't... I feel like on the side of Hex, obviously, we're talking about, yes, they're playing the Skeleton comp. Yes, they can give up these early leads a tiny bit. But you're already looking at a decent gold deficit that you can't carry on this throughout the game, because if this keeps going, this gold lead's going to build and build and build. Yeah,
definitely a bit of a worrying trend of what we're seeing so far. It is about 2,500 the gold lead at the moment. But I think the Kassadin Jinx, both scaling.
What mythic do you feel like we're going to see from Jinx as the resident Jinx player? Well, I know you like Gale Force a lot.
Yeah, Gale Force is my favorite mythic. I think I think especially on the mobile champions like the Jinx, like not like Senna. Senna's different. You just go Kraken Slayer every time and laugh in the face of your enemy.
Yeah, because it's busted as hell.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's broken on that champion. But on Jinx, I really like Gale Force, not just because of the dash. Obviously, the dash is nice. The stats that the item give are really nice as well. But getting that movement speed, getting that extra ability to kite, that extra ability to just move yourself around the map helps you with dodging skill shots, dodging CC, so much more than people realize. Although I feel like in this game, Bishan is most likely going to go for a Kraken Slayer.
Yep, Kraken Slayer is usually my choice of item, I feel like, on Jinx. And I do feel like you choose it against these tankier teams. And when
it's going to help him cut through the Ornn so quickly.
Definitely. Ornn and Rel, and even Ivan in some cases. Sure, he's not a tanky man, but
whenever with all the shielding, anyone on their team can become a tank.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like there's a lot of situations where you take Kraken Slayer over Gale Force because you're against more tanks, and I feel like this is kind of a game where we will see it.
We see second turret going to fall in the favor of Hive Mind as well. Really having a lot of pressure in this early game. Although the gold lead's staying at about 2,500. So again, not the end of the world for Hex. But it is, as we mentioned, a very worrying trend that is starting to develop because they're not being able to have enough pressure over any objectives.
Nope.
Cassidy has just dinged level 11 though, as we are seeing the level spam in Twitch chat with the level 11s coming through.
I do feel like we're seeing a fight now.
Headbutt Pulver is going to come in. The Rico is going to get popped through. I can't see the screen. Thank you guys for closing that. Granny Spanner teleporting onto the Jinx Jumpers and is going to manage to find the kill on Amari. Forge God is called Wally, dropping very low. Forge God beginning to find the knockup, but not quite the kill. BDNG escaping on a sliver as well. D-Hero trying to do what he can with the rockets. With the healing from that Moonstone Renewal and the shielding from that Ivan proving to be just too much. Hive Mind take the 1 for 0. They're going to get the turret as well. And this has been an incredibly solid first 15 minutes for the Hive Mind.
Yep. Before that, I was gonna mention before that team fight came out that I think it's very important to notice that Ivan's been at every single tower take. Every single tower that's gone down, Ivan's been in the lane, and there's been 4 men pushing these lanes. Rel, Vayne, Ivan went up top, take top tower. Obviously, Rel, Ivan, Vayne took the bot tower, and then in that mid lane, we saw all 5 of them there. And I feel like it's very important to notice that they're exerting this pressure really well from there, because they know that this team wants to scale, and they know they need to push the early game, and they're doing a really good job of doing it.
Well, you can argue they even have an extra man, because they have Daisy at all of these tower takes as well.
This is true. It's a 6-man take on the mid tower.
Yeah, being able to use that Ivan ultimate as an absolute bodyguard for the rest of the team. We see the Everfrost completed now for Fanxy.
I do really like it.
Kassadin beginning to come online.
I really like Everfrost on Kassadin because since it got triple buffed, which is like crazy, I feel like it's a much better item. Seeing this Darksteel not really coming to any use so far, 0-0-0 on the Kassadin.
But does have the highest CS total in the game. True,
definitely CSing very well. The kind of problem I feel like for this team is if we saw it in that last team.
You see a pause. ADC is lagging on the side of Hive Mind, so it is going to be a quick internet reset. So hopefully we'll be able to get that done very, very quickly for you guys, and we're going to get straight back into game. But for now, we are just going to be chilling in a pause. So let's take this as a snapshot now, and let's have a bit of a closer look at the item builds. We have just seen the Kraken Slayer picked up for Bishan.
Yeah, I think it's very important, and we did see Vayne get the Immortal Shield as well. The only person left to get a item mythic in the game is the Alistar.
Yeah.
But I think pretty standard across the board on most things, other than Jinx obviously has a bit more variety. I think both of the ADCs have a bit more variety, but everything else is pretty standard across the board. Proto Belt on Nico, Everfrost on Kassadin, Ude coming up with the Chem Tank. But I do think that it's worth noting in that last team fight, especially when we saw it in the mid lane, how strong Nico is at stopping an engage, right? Like Alistar had a good engage, got a 4-man knocked up their entire team. It was looking like a good engage. Nico clicks the R button, their entire team is chunked and rooted, and the enemy team can just push back into them. And I feel like that was super important in that fight to get that big Nico off and make sure to stop that engage coming through.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a massive zone that you are able to control for free. Just being able to say, you want to dive on me and my teammates? Well, if you're going to dive through here, you're not going to be allowed to move. And you're going to take a shit ton of damage while doing it.
Exactly.
And it's just a really useful tool alongside everything else they have in their comp. Obviously, the Call of the Forge God coming out of the Ornn, that massive AoE knock-up, the Daisy presence coming through from Ivan. You got Rel in there as well. It's so much manipulation and crowd control.
Yep, it's a lot of crowd control they've got on their team, and they used it well in that fight. The good thing about having so much CC, as I mentioned before, every single person on their team has good engage or disengage in the sense of the team. So you need to make sure it's important. You see it a lot in solo queue. Obviously, it's different than 5-man, but when you have teams that are coordinated, you need to make sure to use your CC sequenced properly, rather than just, oh god, we're getting engaged on, everyone click the R button, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You need to make sure that only the person that burned the big ult to stop the disengage, or to start the disengage, was Nico, and then everyone else followed up with their CC to re-engage on them once they had alleviated the pressure that was being put on them, which is exactly the kind of thing you want to see from a big team fight.
Yeah, of course, and it just shows Hive Mind are executing on their win conditions or executing on their team comp very, very effectively. But looking forward, obviously, we do see the 3 outer turrets from Hex have all been taken. It opens up a lot of extra pressure on the map for Hive Mind.
Yeah, we're seeing Rel even start to put some wards already in their top jungle, and that's the kind of thing you want to do once you start taking tier ones. If you're to keep the pressure up, you want to make sure that you're now putting the vision in the enemy jungle necessarily rather than your own jungle, and that proves that. And when you do that, that shows that you are pushing to make sure that you can keep pushing this advantage, and you're not just going to let them scale to the late game.
Exactly, and that's exactly what Hex wants to do. Obviously, we mentioned the Kassadin, now level 11, has that Everfrost completed, has the tier about 2/3 of the way stacked. So he's going to start to become a threat very soon in this game.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, he's been kind of AFK farming so far. The kind of thing, really, when you're sometimes standing solo, you don't mind seeing your cast in solo farm the entire time.
We are now back into game.
The Rift Tower come out, but as I'm saying, Caston's fine to just solo farm a lot of the time. You're all right, buddy. You get level 16. You carry me in the late game, but make sure that a lot of the time the Caston players sat there like, all right, guys, I'll do this, but you guys make sure you don't die too much. But we're seeing a 3k gold lead almost come out. I just love the Rift Tower being passed over.
But you can't even really say, oh, it's just because Hex have been chain inting into Hivemind. Hivemind has been playing the map really well.
No, definitely. As I mentioned before with the Ivan, he's been, I feel like, honestly, Outlaw has been a big player in this game. Maybe not showing that he's getting the massive engages or the massive kills, but the way he's been playing around the map and using his pressure that his lanes have to get these towers and push out all the lanes has been super good.
Yeah, and I think Outlaw was just angry in the manner in which they lost yesterday. So he's decided, I'm going to go back to my roots. I'm going to take the Ivan, and I'm going to show
tree.
Exactly. And I'm going to show you how to play League of Legends. And we see Hivemind probably just going to get this dragon uncontested. Fanxy just completing his recall, picking up the Merc Treads. Jinx Rocket going to come through. Not going to find the steal. Drake number 3 over to the Hive. Is going to take them to Soul Point in 5 minutes. Baron's coming up in 2. Although I wouldn't expect Hivemind to go straight for a 20-minute Baron.
I think something really important noting out is that if you look on the map, they have Hex have one ward, and it is that control ward in their bush right there.
Yeah.
And they have no vision elsewhere. The entire jungle is dark for them, so they can't even walk it. They can't face check any of these bushes. They can't walk in their jungles. They're stuck to their lanes right now, and even in their lanes, they're going to feel so much more pressure because they have no vision to know where the enemy team is. And we can see maybe they're going to start pushing out and trying to get that vision, but honestly, it's very hard when you're at a deficit. You aren't necessarily, all your carries aren't online yet, and you need to get this vision so you're not falling too far behind.
Yeah, definitely, and it is going to prove to be difficult, especially in a minute and a half if Hivemind do decide to force around the Baron.
Oh, I do like. They do have a ward in mid as well. It's just placed.
Okay.
They have a ward in the mid lane as well.
So they've now doubled their wards placed on the map. If we look at the vision scores, it's actually PDNG with the highest vision score total out of anyone in the game so far with 24. No one on Hivemind actually breaking into the 20s yet, with some pretty low totals in the solo lanes for Hex, which has really been holding back their vision. As we say that though, Fanxy placing the ward. You see that charge being expended, so they're getting more wards on the map, and they're starting to take back control of the bot side.
Yeah, exactly what you want to see. I love this from the team, showing that they're not just going to give all this vision away for free, and when they've recalled and reset, they're going to immediately take back all their vision in their jungle so they can start putting this pressure, alleviating it back.
Yeah, after seeing the dragon being taken, obviously being aware that Hivemind are likely to reset following that, then taking the initiative to walk into their own jungle and reclaim all of that vision. It's going to be a difficult fight for them, though. Hivemind roaming around safely in this 4-1 could really move to a 1-3-1, honestly, and send Ornn off into the side lane, but I can understand keeping him with the team as an extra bodyguard. And the Rift Herald going down mid as well, so this is going to be a difficult defense here for Hex.
Yeah, got the Daisy out as well, and they're getting chunked down by Jinx though.
Yeah, Daisy, but the Trigger Seed going to come out and going to keep Daisy alive. Second charge going to come through from this Rift Herald, and it might be an inhibitor turret that it does get taken here. Not quite, as Amari looking for the flank, but all 5 members of Hivemind grouping up in the mid lane together. Zap goes wide. Fanxy going to look with the Rift Walk over the wall. Force Pulse just catches the Vayne. But not really any damage going to come out there from the Kassadin just yet. Is now level 12, so is inching ever closer to that level 16 power spike.
Yeah, I think at this point, just in level 13 as well, so only got 3 more levels to go on it, and he is the highest level in the game. By a decent chunk. The closest person is Ornn on his level 12. But he is 3 levels up on his mid lane now, which I think is quite important considering.
But if we just speak about the Ornn for a second, we do have those Ornn upgrades to come in as well, which is something we haven't really factored in up until this point.
No, definitely not. When you're playing a late game team and you're playing against this late game team, having an Ornn who can just I feel like I like the Ornn when we shifted to the new items. Ornn being able to. Beforehand, you had this problem where sometimes you were like, right, guys, you all need to build an item I can upgrade, right?
Yeah.
Now everyone builds an item you can upgrade. Everyone's going to build a mythic, and I feel like that's so important. And it's usually your best item as well. A lot of the time, not in every case,
definitely.
A lot of the time, it's usually your best item, and being able to upgrade that and for your team is super important. I feel like.
Really quick, we have no fog of war, so we know where both teams are on the map at all times. We've just seen all 5 members of Hivemind reset. With the mid-wave where it is, Hex could have capitalized and potentially pressured the turret, but instead they're going to be scared of the Baron. Jinx Rocket, as I don't know if you saw on the minimap, flying through the Baron pit, and it's almost an opportunity wasted, really.
Yeah, definitely. When you've got these kind of options, they're kind of playing it a bit. I understand if you're in this kind of situation, you're feeling scared. You're like, okay, what? Like, this team they've got a lot of lead. We need to make sure we're playing safe. They've got the pressure that they need. But you can't really just lay down and take it. You want to make sure that you're getting to this late game. And to do that, you need to make sure that you're not just taking a lot of this lying down.
And speaking of the Ornn items, as we did just mere moments ago, Granny Spanner has now picked up that Forge Fire crest. His mythic is now upgraded. So he can now start to dish those upgrades out to his allies from his next level up.
Interesting items. I feel like as well. Jinx second built a Last Whisperer.
I can understand it. I would personally like to see a Serpent's Fang coming out from Bishan this game.
Yeah. Is it? Did it get buffed on this patch or is it?
Yes, it's this patch. It's this patch. It got buffed. It's this patch.
That might be buffed, maybe.
But Dragon coming up looks like it's going to just be the soul for Hivemind. Doesn't really look like Hex are in a position to contest. Doesn't look like they even want to contest.
Yeah. Ooh, no, a bit too far off. Honestly, in these situations, I feel like if you're going to give up Cloud Soul, you need to get something. If they know they're giving up Cloud Soul, run your 5-man top, take that top tower, get
Pressure Baron. Pressure
Baron. Baron, get Vision, do something.
I mean... Yeah, if they are trading it for Caston Von, we do look at the CS numbers actually. Caston and Jinx are on one this game.
For sure, that's been their main focus, is getting these carries. I saw that Bishan was giving a lot of his, or Imo was giving a lot of his camps over to the Jinx and the Caston to make sure that they can get to their level. Caston, the problem is the Hivemind is roaming a lot of the team, right?
Yeah, they're typically roaming as a 3 or as a 4, yeah.
So it's kind of hard for Caston to walk on it. I mean, he does obviously have a lot of mobility and able to get out of a lot of these situations, but he sometimes struggles with going on solo lane, getting the secondary solo. If the enemy team, he doesn't know where they are and they don't have vision, but seeing them topside, he's going to go bottom, catch that wave.
Level 14 just dinged now as well, inching ever closer to the dreaded level 16, and it doesn't look like Hivemind are really threatening any kind of an end before this Cassidon's hitting level 16. They're just showing they're not scared of the scaling, because they have good scaling themselves, as we've mentioned countless times this game. Both these teams are fine with sitting back, trading farm. It's not been the highest action game. Not too many team fights. Only 5 kills in 25 minutes. It feels like we're watching a game from the LCK.
Is this the lowest kill game so far? It must be, right?
Yes, 100%. I don't even need to look at the stats.
Yeah,
this has been the lowest kill game so far. But no, both teams executing at a good level. Both teams knowing what their win conditions are, playing to it, and just trying to get themselves there.
1 kill every 5 minutes, and one of those was a solo kill on top lane really early on. As well,
yeah,
so.
Between Ornn and Lulu, who would have thought there'd be a solo kill in that lane?
Yeah, but 1 kill every 5 minutes, and if you were just looking at the kills on this game, you'd go, okay, they do have the less kills, but it's okay because that's scaling comp. But it's very noteworthy that they gave up every single objective. They have not got a single objective this game, and the gold is surely.
Oh, we could see a potential team fight here though. Fancy roaming up through this topside jungle, but he's going to be spotted out on a control ward.
Yep, disengaging nicely, knowing that they're a 4-man, not a 5-man. Ornn being down bot, making sure to get that tower.
Yep, but we see the Archangel staff completed for the Cassidon, and the Lord Dominic's Regards just picked up by the Jinx. So 2 items now for both carries of Hex.
Yeah, I think
Goldie starting to just slowly creeping up here.
Yeah, definitely. Level lead though, actually, Hex does have the level lead overall as a team. I think they are
Yeah.
one level up total.
Yeah, I think they are average XP. They are ahead, I would imagine.
Um, uh,
Mm.
yeah, a lot of you see maybe a lot of these late game camps they give a lot more.
There
AoE
are,
and
there is a lot of camps and CS being denied from Hex due to just the state of the map at the moment, with the way the vision is being placed, with the respect that Hex are giving over to the Hive.
Yeah, but I like the Hex Hive. Sorry, have Jesus Hex. My bad. Have got a lot of vision in their topside jungle, making sure that they aren't just gonna that they'll know if they go for that Baron play, which we might be seeing as they group.
And you can even see it in all chat. Both of the players, Amari, one of the players, even acknowledging how low kills of a game this has been. 5 kills in 27 minutes now. But it does just build the anticipation, build the excitement for that next team fight, because the next team fight could well decide the game. We do see the upgraded Aero Pack coming in, I believe, for Frostmoth in the mid lane. I think that's the upgraded version of the Rocket Belt. And now we see the Baron started off. 2 members of Hex on the bot side, 3 in mid. This should just be a free Baron.
TP coming in.
TP from Kassadin.
Oh, they're looking on this TP.
Hive Mind are going to turn on the TP. The Strawberry Lace is going to be thrown out, but going to not quite connect. Nico Clone running forward as well, and there's 2 Orns in this team fight now.
Alright. Not a bad use of the TP, I honestly feel like, from Kassadin. Just using the TP to get them off Baron, worth it in that situation. Maybe they're going to look to just go for it again. We're seeing the pings come out for it, but honestly, if you're feeling on the side of Hex, Kassadin is 1 level off, right? You don't want to give the game over here. But you also don't want to give up Baron, so it's a very tough position
and they're not looking for the Baron. They are looking to bait, hiding around the wall, manipulating that fog of war. Is anyone from Hex going to spring the trap?
Jinx does have ult. They're going to see
And the
Jinx
Jinx
ult. Lovely use
Rocket,
of Jinx ult.
really nice scouting. Yeah, they don't have any blue trinkets available, but uses the global ultimate instead. Very nicely sniffed out there on the Elder Dragon about to spawn up. Yeah, and all of Hex are just resetting, so this is going to be Baron for Hive Mind.
Yep, I understand they're just running straight to Elder, so maybe they're thinking that they can just quickly get the Elder and get positions set up around the Elder in this case.
I don't know if they have the right timer on this. It's 25 seconds still for the Elder Dragon to spawn.
I don't think they'll get Elder. I meant just they would be able to set up position around the Elder that they currently don't have.
And that is going to be Baron secured for Hive Mind.
Currently,
do have the positioning though.
Hive now have no vision on this Elder as well, so maybe they're looking for a play to be able to catch them out.
Why are Hex not just trying to sneak this? They could sneak this with Jinx and Udyr.
Maybe they feel they need to defend, they can't give up too much of the base, but it feels like their reset times are a little off. They're going to have to give a lot, at least an inhib over as well, maybe more.
Blood Ward now picked up for Killer Vanilla. Fancy going for the
Pop
was on the 4. Magnus Storm catching 3 though, and the Pop Blossom going to stun everyone else down. Fancy can't quite find it because Bishop finding the first kill of the fight. Killer Vanilla asking back on to Fancy, but there's just too much healing coming out of this Ivan Outlaw, providing way too much. BDMG diving forward. Killer Vanilla going to go down. Triple kill for the Vayne. Going to be a Quadra now. And are we going to see another pentakill on the second day of UNL? We are. Oh no, we're not. Stolen by the Ivan. Pentakill stolen by the Ivan. So that is going to be Hive Mind taking the game, as we do get the spectator bug to finish off game 1.
Exactly what we want to see.